And from time to time you read an interesting story on Facebook, and so I thought I'd share this one. It's about the lady who first brought merino sheep to southeast Australia. Eliza Jack was born in Scotland in 1784, and at the age of 20 she married John Forlong. She had an incredible life, becoming an Australian pioneer, playing a major role in introducing merino sheep to southeast Australia. By the mid-1820s, 4 of her children had died from tuberculosis. Her 2 surviving sons were William and Andrew, born in 1813 and 1814 respectively. John Forlong, her husband, decided that sheep was where the family could make their wealth, and planned to take the family to Australia, to a warmer climate and hopefully prosperity. Aware that fine wool from merino sheep in Saxony, Germany, were bringing the highest prices, her husband John went to Leipzig to study methods of sheep rearing and wool preparation. On her own, Eliza made 3 trips of several months each between the years 1828 and 1830. She walked through Saxony buying the best fine wool merino sheep, and then with little help drove them to Hamburg for shipping to Great Britain, and then finally on to Australia in Tasmania. What makes her feat even more remarkable is that Eliza had no knowledge of sheep and the wool trade, having to learn it on the road, so to speak. How difficult and dangerous that must have been for a lone woman, Eliza recalled many years later. And she said, "My heart used to sink as I heard the chains of the drawbridge rattle on coming to a fortified town." On arrival in Tasmania, the family took up land near Campbelltown in January 1831. There they built sheep houses in the Saxon style, wells, a farmhouse and outbuildings. Never content with the size and situation of their land grants, they had many discussions re their predicament with colonial officials. In April 1834, in an attempt to influence English authorities, Eliza, her husband John and son Andrew returned to England, where sadly John died later the same year. They made their way back to Australia, and in the late 1830s were on the move again, heading across Bass Strait to what was then known as the Port Phillip district, squatting on land near Whittlesea, which is today an outer northern suburb of Melbourne. Eliza's younger son William married, and she lived with them after Andrew returned back to Scotland. In the early 1850s, William bought the lease of 7 Creeks Station near Euroa, which is in central Victoria. Eliza ran the house and managed station affairs in the frequent absences of William and his wife. Eliza was a woman ahead of her time. Her vision, courage and determination can only be described as amazing. Eliza died on the 5th of August 1859 and was buried at the foot of Belmutton Hill, overlooking the town of Euroa. Alfred William Howitt, Australian anthropologist, explorer and naturalist, described her as one of the most pleasant and energetic ladies I have ever met. In 1933, almost 80 years later, Eliza's part in introducing to Victoria the first fine wool Saxon merinos was commemorated by the erection of a memorial over her grave. It was a slab of granite in the shape of a wool pack. It is located on what is now known as Forlong Memorial Road. And here's some photos, and you can see the sign of the memorial and the grave, and as was custom of that time, it talks about Mrs. John Forlong, which of course is Eliza. Anyway, what a lady, what an inspiration, and who knows what challenges we can still overcome in growing our country